Now we should go on to really the meat of it all, because we could talk so much at the moment because we missed so much.
Yep. So this is like so for this week's podcast, we're doubling it up.
Yeah, the second section, part 2. Thorough stuff, as we've listed, because it's thorough. So, my Odyssey, we go back to that. Yeah, what can I say?
Wow.
The scope of the game, the amount of the world,
the costumes. Have you seen
the
this?
costumes,
like 25 costumes.
the nipples, the topless. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the nipples. That's it.
Like, they've made this game, by the sounds of it, so big, so huge, so in depth. Caters to every type of gamer. I watched a 4-minute video, and in that 4-minute video, I was like, "What? This? They've got that." It's got the hatless sections.
Yeah.
I think that it was right for them to end on it. Yeah, we know it's coming. Yeah, we all expected that because it's coming out in a month and there's a direct, so why not, right? But still, I'm glad they've done it, and it still surprises me. I think it could be Nintendo competing with itself for Game of the Year. But it could be Super Mario Odyssey versus
Zelda,
Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, this is a year of great games. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still haven't got to play that
under
yet.
the radar. None have I. Yeah. And
they
I
needed
think
a PC port of that game.
it's a
It's Sony exclusive.
Right?
Yeah.
I think Sony needs a PC port. No, I digress. But yeah, there was another little one from the 3DS bit that went underrated. Minecraft 3DS. I'm quite a big Minecraft fan. I don't really play it much. I do survival rather than creative. But I get to, chill out when I play that game. But to see it run on the 3DS was impressive. It is just about running on the 3DS. And that's why it is impressive, but also not. Your render distance is very low. You're probably only really going to enjoy it in creative mode.
Fair enough.
Just because you don't know what's coming around the corner, because it literally shows blank. It's like blank, a stone's throw away from the character, because it cannot render all the chunks. Because it's a handheld, really old technology in the 3DS. But it's impressive, and I think people argue, well, what's the point? There's going to be like 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds out there who don't own hand-me-down iPhones, who don't have their own dedicated home console system, and the 3DS is their life, and Minecraft predominantly appeals to that demographic.
That does. It appeals to my little brother loves it.
Yeah.
He's got it on the 360.
And they can play it on the go without having to borrow their mum's phone, right? Dedicated handheld system.
Yeah,
So,
which is why I think you can slowly see the change that the 3DS is going to get probably 2, maybe 3 years more support, and then it's moving over to the Switch. And as time goes on, we can see what the direction it's
going.
going.
I think it's going to be the next 6 months. Maybe we'll get some more exclusive stuff. The following 6 to 18 months will be cross-release titles.
Yes.
It's also coming to Switch, because then Switch wants to bolster its library.
Yeah.
We've talked before about the Switch having Wii U ports. Why not?
Yeah.
But then again, as I mentioned earlier, why not just get some good 3DS ports?
Yeah, exactly.
New Super Mario Brothers collection,
Yeah, that was quite good, that game.
The top 500 levels from every 2D Mario game. But they could do that. They can do it. I don't know if they will, but they could. They could bring out a Link Between Worlds, right, as a eShop only title. We don't have to package a cartridge, but provide it.
Do you know what? That game, as I play more through it, it's incredible. But the depth of field on the Switch will be better, because you'll be able to tell it better. Because on the 3DS, it does kind of struggle a little bit with the depth of field.
Yeah.
Not badly.
Yeah.
What I mean is, you can't always tell from the
camera angle
angles.
switches. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Whereas you'd have a more powerful system, you could get the depth of field. I think
Nice,
that's what would
crisp,
increase.
1080p probably downsampled would look really nice. Just have to.
I think they could do a 720 and it still look very good.
They wouldn't need to. That's what I'm saying to you. Like, they wouldn't even. 1080p would be such a breeze for the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the massive, 3-generational leap up between the two pieces of hardware. Probably even much more than that in terms of handheld to handheld comparison. You could just do like a super sample 4 times down, and you just wouldn't have every single edge, as far as you can see, would probably be perfectly smooth.
Yeah.
Some of the texture filtering would just be incredible. Probably wouldn't even need to lower any texture quality. But then you would have to rework those textures. I think that's the biggest hurdle. They don't need to do it yet, but for all it's worth, the Switch, if it starts to struggle with games, there's so much content they can just start bringing over. But the Wii U makes more sense. Not many people had it.
Yeah,
Get those
definitely.
games out there, right? Mario Kart 8, not Mario Kart 7. But then this kind of goes into the next game I want to talk about. And you're not a big Mario Party player, are you, historically speaking?
No, not really. I've never really played it.
Man. Like I bought every single edition up until 8 and was like, what is this? And then sort of just didn't get back into it.
Fair enough.
But the glory days of the 64, with Mario Kart 2, we've spoken about it before when we did the 64 Classic. I watched that and I recognised nearly every single minigame they showed in that montage. I knew them all. They were some of the best ones. Why is it on 3DS? Why isn't it on Switch? The Switch is marketed as a multiplayer console. How is that not on the Switch? That is what is missing. Something you can sit down with the casual gamer and the people who are extremely competitive still and just roll that dice and see how it goes.
I saw that. I thought I was like, no, because I was skimming through the 3D, the content of the stream because I was on holiday, and then I saw this and I thought, oh my god, why is this not on the Switch itself? And it was just, I was shocked.
It's probably a rush job. They probably went, hey, we can make the 3DS look so much more appealing by having some more first-party content supported on it, because you look at the games that they announced, and we're looking at, Pokemon is owned by Nintendo's first party. Of course it is, and it's expected to be on there. But then you start... Well, I suppose there's still quite a lot of first-party content, I have to admit. Yeah, Nintendo is supporting it, looking through that list. But still, it should have been on the Switch. And I think... sit down, pass somebody a Joy-Con. It's been perfect.
I don't think it's not going to come to Switch. I think they're going to add some new content to it to put it on the Switch.
Mario Party 101.
Yeah? One extra level? Or maybe Mario Party 1000. Everything.
No, there were a lot of bad ones, man. You do not want on there, trust me. There were so many games that came around and you just like, can't you just choose not to have this one? No, some of those games though were from Mario Party DS, which means they're touch only, which would mean they're not possible. But then just swap them out for other ones.
That's fine.
And allow us to move around the board independently. Stop sharing the... they've made mistakes with the franchise. It was so good.
That's fair enough. This is something that, if it does come on Switch, I might actually pick up, because it might be good laugh for us to have, like, maybe do in the future. We might do a stream of like Mario Party 100.
Yeah, exactly. Let's tap the button again.
So I think it'll be something we have to watch out for. But next one, Morphy's Law.
Okay, I'm the only one who's getting 90s sort of like early noughties shooter vibes about this. It's a bit slower paced. It can be fast paced if you get shot to bits and you're really tiny. But it's tactical, squad based. It's got that spin on it. I know it's not exclusive to the Switch. It's come to the Switch first, but it's got that Nintendo vibe to it where it's like you don't have to just worry about dying constantly. It's got that adaptive difficulty rating, as it were.
So it means if you're poor, you can keep playing it until you get better.
Somebody else pulls their weight, literally. So
that's fair enough.
And I like the idea that it's got a tactical element. You get big legs, you can jump higher. It's just the pacing of it, the speed of it looks really good. They've only really shown, I think, only 1 or 2 levels, so I don't know the scope of content. I think if it had a lot of content, it would probably be one that I'll pick up and buy.
You never know. One of these games, something like Morphy's Law, Morphy's Law, I could actually see get popular and become an esport. Because it's something
if it gets the Rocket
really
League effect, right? And
But why not? Because it's a game where it's team based. Look at Dota 2. Dota 2, CS:GO. They're popular games.
That's a convenient segue into the other game we've got on this, which is Arena of Valor, right?
Yeah. Which is another good game coming up.
A free game. No, it's obviously not free. Nothing's free. I mean, that's just sent Nintendo's stock soaring. It was officially the highest stock value for 10 years, or I believe it was 10 years. And you're looking at like the Chinese market, because it is a massively popular game in China. It's a MOBA on a console.
Nice.
And if that's not for me, but again, there's that variety of content, right? And that's what matters. And it might not be the big hitters that everyone expects, but there is variety, and it is a console that has content. It has probably got more content than the Wii U ever had already.
It's definitely got more content. I went for the eShop, picked up for a couple of weeks because I've been on holiday, and I was flicking through and going, oh, the eShop looks better.
Yeah.
Just literally, it's getting
it's
getting to pages now.
Yeah, that tile setting you've got for your home menu is going to change to. Yeah. And I mean, like, that Dragon Quest Builders is the same respect, where it's like really, really big in Japan. I was always dabbled with the idea of buying that on PC. Had a free trial version I tried out for a little while, if that makes sense.
Yeah, nice.
It didn't stick because it was a free trial version. I think it's pretty cool. That's on there. Again, so someone likes Minecraft, that is the missing element to me for Minecraft and RPG.
Fair enough.
That's pretty cool. That's another big one. Even though number 2 is in the works, it hasn't been announced for Switch. I'd like to think it probably will come to Switch now that the first one's there.
Because they're just testing water, aren't they, basically?
Yeah, but it's good to see. It's guts. You know, it's not just, here's a completely unrelated game like EA have done with FIFA. You know, do you want Battlefront? Buy FIFA. Don't work that way.
No, exactly.
But I digress. Other SteamWorld Dig 2. I never played SteamWorld Dig, and I really wanted to.
I played it. It was actually, I got it free on PSN, and I must have played, I don't know, about 10 hours into it. I did complete it because I absolutely loved it, and it's a very addictive game. You just wanted to dig everywhere, and so the whole concept of this is you're stuck. You have to go and rescue a town. No, you have to find your friend, sorry. And as you go through the levels, you upgrade yourself, so you get better drilling equipment, better things to kill little monsters with.
This is like the perfect sequel, you know, like the Aliens to Alien, or Terminator 2 Judgment Day to Terminator. Everyone loved the first one, but the second one's offering that variety. You know, you can go 2 different directions now, which you couldn't do before. Apparently,
no, you could only go one direction.
Yeah, it sounds really silly, but sometimes it's the little things. You know, Miyamoto-san auto jumping Ocarina of Time pretty much made the game, made it what it was.
Yeah.
Sometimes the little things make a game. They also touched on Golf Story, which I like golfing game. It's just like the art style.
It looks quite good.
Yeah,
remind me of Mario Golf.
Yeah,
that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I'll get it maybe. Like that's a possibility. And then we start getting into the big stuff. So
the heavy hitters.
I want to get Arcade Classics out of the way. My video feed went down when Arcade Classics cropped up. To me, Arcade Classics is a big fat no for Virtual Console, as in we are not ready for it yet. What I mean by that is it's not being called Virtual Console. It is keeping in theme with arcade games on the Switch, as in SNK's synonymous,
Neo Geo
synonymous with the arcade side of things. So it's tackling a sector which probably wasn't popular or done too much before on their other Virtual Console content. And the arcade content, a lot of it wasn't actually, it was outsourced by Nintendo when they made those games. They are being positioned as, they weren't on console, so they're not, you know, from one of Nintendo's previous systems and machines. We always think of Nintendo as a hardware, software merging of the two sides of the coin.
Yep.
And therefore they releasing them out. They're not going to have pixel matching quality. We're not going to think of them as Virtual Console. It sort of gives us a hint towards Virtual Console to say we are doing that. But yeah, it just to me is more of a no. You're not getting something. Then cool, you're getting something. Even though obviously you are getting something, it's like a subliminal messaging sort of moment from Nintendo. That's how I look at it. I think.
But these are the games that we may not have played. And my real question is: so we're getting arcade classics. Are we going to get an awesome '80s arcade classic from Sega?
But that's my point. So
that's what I want to see.
So this is what I think they're all going to be kept for the Virtual Console. Because the Virtual Console is going to be something more.
Oh,
well, that's my hope, right? It's going to be, it's going to be pixel matching. It's either going to be HD, you know. It's going to have online features. It's going to have motion controls tacked in like Flog. Right, they're showing the motion control. I think Nintendo doesn't just want to repurpose its virtual console library. I think it wants to do something more with it, and that's where the angle's going to come in when it comes to your online subscription.
Yes. So they're saying this is the original game. However, we've added more content.
Yeah, we've reinvested our time into this.
Yeah.
And we know they can do it with pixel matching anyway, because the SNES Classic and NES Classic can do that. And I know it's dedicated hardware for emulation, but come on, the Switch can emulate that hardware.
It won't have a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be based on the same architecture. I wouldn't be surprised because they're all basing everything on the same architecture, so they can go seamlessly from one transition to the next, which is what PCs do. So
yeah,
it's just taken the console market 25, 30 years to kind of realise this.
Yeah, well, it's like the Power PC architecture got in the way, and Apple and whatnot. But that aside, we then get to the big hitter, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I would probably go with the news about LA Noire.
Yeah, LA Noire comes first, because that wasn't in the direct, but let's start with that. So that's big. That's really big.
Did you play it?
I never played the original.
Oh my god, it was for a game. I picked it up for. Oh, what's this? I have completed it because it's very story driven. Which is something I really liked, and you had to go through each scene looking for the clues. And sometimes you'd walk away from the scene and you're like, I need to go back for some more clues. You sort of get halfway around the scene.
Well, you like Phoenix Wright, yeah.
It was. And they had some good actors in there from different TV series.
The facial capture was a whole new idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually really good for the time.
Using instead of using basically pre-rendered facial capture and replant that on top of the character as they express their emotions to get a much more lifelike and realistic interpretation of emotions. That's big news because that comes from obviously Rockstar.
Yes. Which means
Rockstar's releasing a game on a Nintendo platform, and
which means if they let Doom on there,
LA Noire.
LA Noire. Sorry, they may let GTA on there.
Well, GTA can run. GTA's on the 360. It can run on a Switch easily.
Yep.
Switch is much more, not much, but it's more powerful than the 360, right?
I think they're going to test it with LA Noire, and if it sells well, I think Red Dead Redemption 2. That's what I honestly think.
Oh, you heard it here first, because I'm not so sure, man. I think Red Dead Redemption 1 comes to the Switch first. I reckon it gets... That's totally doable. It's on 360. Totally doable. It comes out a year before Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
That means Switch owners get to play it, get hyped up for it, and then if that sells well, then Red Dead Redemption 2 comes.
Have you played Red Dead Redemption 1?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I must put about 40 hours into it, but like every Rockstar game, I never finish them. I don't know why. I just reach a point where I'm like, I like the sandbox, but the sandbox is what's special about them. The actual mechanics of the game aren't that great. Like, the battle mechanics. I mean, I have to admit, I didn't put that much time in GTA 5 to directly compare, because I know they focus on it a little bit more. But generally speaking, Rockstar games are like a jack of all trades, but they use the sandbox as the massive selling point. You can kind of do what you want. So when it came to Red Dead, I got to Mexico, or across the border, if you like.
That's pretty much like the beginning of the game. It just spirals out of control.
I'd done about 10 hours into that and was like, I've done too many duels. But I ended up playing more poker. I played a lot of poker in that game.
I kept losing at the poker, so I gave up and started playing the storyline. I did like the weird little people you ran into, so I thought that was quite good.
Yeah, no, I remember doing a side quest where some guy was at his house and he's like, I might be remembering this wrong, but his wife was sick. And he tells his wife's already dead. I think she's been sitting in a chair dead for, crying from Red Dwarf when he's serving everybody.
Yeah.
Dead, right? it was like that, and I was like, what the hell is this?
But is everybody dead?
Is everybody dead? I know, yeah.
Let's see, shall we? Put your hands up.
yeah, come on, you can do it. Oh, yeah. Brushing the hair. But that then gets into the big meat, right? And this is why I think I'm really agitated with EA and their approach. And hey, I don't know the reasons. I might be completely wrong. It's all an educated guess. But Doom and Wolfenstein are coming to the Switch, as I'm sure you've heard, as this podcast is really behind. But Doom and Wolfenstein are coming to the Switch. So let's just let that sink in for a
Wolfenstein
bit.
2 looks... Like, I like Wolfenstein, and
Never played it. I always wanted to, but never got around to play it.
Played it on the PC. It was where I very first, because I actually played Doom before I played Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Because a friend of mine just said, yeah.
I ain't played Doom since the 90s.
The new Doom, for me, like Sai, our other colleague who comes on here with us, really liked it. I didn't mind it. I actually preferred the multiplayer than the single player, because it was quite good fun jumping about
Doom
playing multiplayer.
On our PCs with our graphics card, you know, it's just fantastic. On my 1440p monitor, I was like, whoa.
I was running it at like max.
Super sampled.
Oh yeah, super sampled at 4K, and it just looked incredible. I showed Sai, and he was like, whoa.
But this is my case in point. As if you guys are watching any of our number of videos, this is my case in point. Any game come on the Switch, it's all about the game engine. PCs, if you set your PC settings to super duper duper low, or you have a PC that is inferior to the Switch, it will run Doom one way or another, and it will run Doom without it being optimized. So it might run with an inconsistent frame rate. It might be 30 frames per second.
Doom is actually incredibly optimized.
Yeah, that's the Epic Game Engine, and I think that's why Nintendo saw that from the beginning. It was like, let's as you may or may not know, they dedicated a whole team to just play with Unreal for 1 year. They played with it. That was their job, man. Just learn it inside out. Doom is running on the Switch. Yes, you're dropping a lot of the graphical fidelity, but it still looks good.
You're not going to tell that when it's in your hands.
Yeah, I mean, it's a portable game. It's Doom from 2016.
Yeah.
That was in the conversation for Game of the Year. That looks incredible on 4K on a PC. That is running on a handheld platform. Okay, the big concern I have is not a concern, it's just being a PC gamer is it's 30 frames per second. I've watched the video, it just means it's going to be a bit more blurry when it comes to motion. But again, you're playing it on the go. It's small sacrifices for what that is. And then Wolfenstein is going to be, truly AAA title, which isn't out yet. It's being announced for the Switch.
It's going to come later,
Multi-platform.
but bearing in mind Doom's their first go at it, so they have to learn. The fact that they put Doom on there is a chance for them to go, hang on, PC developers looking at Switch going, this is another medium. This is a medium that outsells the Xbox and is starting to outsell the PS4 in Japan, and they love the console. So if they start with there, and PC developers look at that and go, okay, what can we do here?
Right, first party is now becoming popular in Japan thanks to Nintendo's little spin on it. We've seen increased interest in other first person shooting games.
Yeah.
Compared to what they had before. I mean, Splatoon's opened that door. It may never close. And again, go back to the game engine, man. Final Fantasy 15 was what we started off with that, and we said we'd get back to it. Rumour has it it's going to be built. Not so much a rumour. Yeah, it's still a rumour. It's going to be built or ported to the Epic Game Engine, which means it then can be scalable, and it could and should be able to work on the Switch. Again, I don't mind taking a knock on graphical fidelity for that. I've always enjoyed my Final Fantasy games because of at the time they were always like ahead of the curve, one way or another, bit through cutscenes.
They were very good-looking games, but graphics isn't everything, and we know that.
Convenience, man.
Yeah,
time.
Zelda isn't the best-looking game out there. It looks amazing on the Switch.
Yeah.
How they've
Nintendo
optimized
again.
it.
Yeah, Nintendo doing what they do best.
I mean, even like we know from playing Zelda that maybe people haven't played it yet or haven't got into detail. I stood there watching cloud formations, and see how they run across the sky, and just the mechanics that they can throw into a game like that. That's 24 gig. You imagine what you can do with a game once you understand the engine, and apparently it's very easy to port to from what we know. So why can't you port anything else? Because there'd be a few games from the PC I'd love to see on there, which will then give consoles a bit of a shake-up, because they'd be like, hang on, we've got this portable machine that's getting games that we aren't having on our system.
See, I think the Switch is Steam 2.0. So Steam reinvigorated the PC market. In fact,
Yeah.
you could argue it almost made it what it is today. In fact, it did. It provided a easily accessible platform for indie developers.
Yep.
It provided finally the means for parity between console and PC releases.
Yep.
And we weren't just getting a GIMP version. So hey, we still are from certain developers, but we're getting a lot more content. Now we are getting truly the definitive editions on PC.
But the beauty thing of Steam is they've got reviews straight up on there. It's one marketplace. You can flick through.
Yeah,
and
it's a platform in its own right?
Yeah, exactly, definitely. It's his own medium.
But this is my point. So it supports all that. It fosters a culture, and the Switch seems to be doing the same thing. It's really cheap to buy a dev kit. It's cheap and accessible to develop for, and it's easy to port to.
Exactly.
And indies are selling better. Certain indies are selling better on the Switch than they are on all other platforms combined. And that will scream and speak from the rooftops to all those people who want to get their games up and running off the ground.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand. The market goes hand in hand, and Nintendo knows it. That's why they've got an indie showcase. They know where their strengths lie.
Indies.
Yeah? Indies.
That's what they call it.
Indies from the 90s.
Which I think's something that they're starting to develop for, and that's why I'd like a few games. I'd like to see a few older games on there, like Soul Reaver. I want the entire collection on there, so I can.
Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver.
Yeah, beautiful game. I haven't played Blood Omen. Because it's ridiculously expensive on the PS1.
You're going that far back. I mean, that's probably that will come again with the virtual consoles. That stuff. I honestly think it's all gonna be branded. Nintendo's gonna brand that this is a VC, or it might not be called virtual console. I think every single game that existed on the previous generation, the Xbox 360 and PS3, the first generation to truly use graphics as the defining point. I mean, yes, of course, there are always defining points in games, but the point is like realism. I know they PS2 pitched it for realism, but to the point where we accepted, the HD TVs, and we saw that distinct jump up. All those games are still in a lot of people's minds console games, but then all of a sudden you've been able to play them on go. Like Grand Theft Auto 5 came out on the 360, right?
Yeah.
It can come out on the Switch. Metal Gear Solid 4, if for example, big games come out on the Switch. I think Bethesda have done fantastic. I think they could have opened the floodgates. They've done what other developers should have done and committed. You just got to make... someone has to concede at some point. Nintendo has seemingly learned from their lessons and gone, hey, we want your help. We want to help.
Here's a door. Open it.
Yeah, before Nintendo would build a console for themselves. 64's for us. You want to make games for it? Cool. But the hardware is built for what we expect. We want to make our games. And it's been that way. The Wii is the best example of that. The Wii U is a poor example of that. As in, it didn't work out for them.
But don't you think that hammering hit home on how much they needed to change? And bearing in mind, the Wii was the Wii U was a stepping stone between that and the Switch. They've always wanted it portable.
Failed proof of concept.
Yeah. It's like, well, this part worked, but people didn't like this. So if we bring it out like this, and maybe the tech weren't there before when the Wii U was brought out for them to be able to do it at an achievable cost for someone to buy it.
Yeah. Also, I just think the tech wasn't there.
Yeah, the tech wasn't there.
I just think but they made mistakes, and I think the Wii U was rushed, as in it should have came out sooner and it didn't come out in time. The iPad come along and took over the whole tablet. Tablets weren't really a thing until the iPad in 2010. 2011 it really sort of
took off.
Yeah, and the Wii U comes out in 2012.
But don't you think the way that they've brought out made the developer kits available for $700 are they, something like that? They're not as expensive. Like a second-hand PS3 will set you back about $1,300 developer kit one.
The PS3 is really expensive. Yeah, you're doing that. A couple good few
few thousand when they first came out.
Yeah, it was like really ridiculous. And I mean, PlayStation made mistakes themselves, and it always seems to be whoever's on top.
Well, actually,
Concedes.
Xbox kind of started the process of integrating into their software, so a customer can go and buy an original Xbox and then turn it into a developer one.
Yeah, I don't think that was ever like yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what kind of Nintendo's kind of thought. Oh, that's a good idea. Done it, and
it's Nvidia's influence. I think.
Yes.
Like, I think they went to Nvidia, and I mean Nintendo normally says, yeah, we want this. We want this. We're going to do it from the ground up. R&D. Normally a console has 7 years between the cycle. Obviously the Wii U is failing fast. I think they went to Nvidia and was like, look, we can see that you haven't had any contracts from anyone else. AMD's cornered the console market. What you got? And they delivered. I think Nvidia need massive credit for the performance to that hardware, for that form factor and what it can do. And yeah, it is already kind of old tech, but that doesn't matter. It's doing great things.
But everyone's considered this stuff as old tech. I always see it as proven.
Oh yeah,
because new tech doesn't always work, and it always takes them a year or two to kind of get into it. So every console's been the same. They haven't pushed the most out of the console until we've had it around for a few years.
Except Nintendo consoles, and that's usually been the difference. You get the GameCube, the first few games on the GameCube are probably the best looking games like on the GameCube.
Yes.
Nintendo, from first party perspective, Nintendo knows how to do its hardware.
Rogue Squadron was the only probably real exception to that.
Rogue Squadron looked really good. I mean,
I thought it looked amazing.
Rogue Squadron dared to do things with the hardware that no other developer did, which actually caused problems with emulation in the long run.
Yeah.
But Luigi's Mansion 2 is still really good looking. Luigi's Mansion is still a really good looking game. 64 was the same. I read an interesting article about Final Fantasy and how they were shocked at what Nintendo was able to do. That's why they didn't bring their own games to the Nintendo platform. They didn't feel that it was capable enough, but they're still blown away by what Nintendo could do with it. The Wii U, obviously, Nintendo made the best looking game in the Wii U. It was just that simple.
Yeah, they did. They just pushed it. You can even see that from the Switch, from how Mario Kart 8 looks, Zelda looks.
Incredible, right?
Mario Odyssey. You wait till we see some of those. We won't see jaggies. It will just be beautiful and smooth. When we played it at Hyper Japan, how good did it look? How responsive did everything feel?
Yeah.
And we only played it with the standard controllers.
I think
you need to play that with a pro controller, and then we'll get real.
I think we should dig deep in that as another conversation for another time, because there's quite a lot in there from our tech understanding of the PC sector. But guys,
thank
you
for
very listening.
much.
This is our podcast for podcast 6, not for week 6. We skipped one, but stay switched on for the rest.